This is a story about an American family. It's a family without a name, without a past, and now without a future. They've been cast out of the place they called home, cut off from the people they once knew. They can never return. They don't dare telephone a loved one or even send for their hometown newspaper. They have no identification papers. Their fingerprints can't even be traced. They have no social security number. It's impossible now to find a job without a social security number or references. Well, I wish I could show you the parents' haunted faces, but I can show you only the baby whose face won't be recognized. All are identified by a code name, 3 dots.
It's, we just don't exist. As far as the government goes, if you were to call the Marshal Service or the Justice Department, you'd get an answer like, we're precluded from answering that question. Or we neither deny nor confirm that 3 dots is in the witness protection program. So who's to say if they find my body laying in a ditch, or my wife and myself, who's to say we ever existed?
Why is the family in hiding? Well, the mafia wants to kill them. Mr. 3 Dots helped the government convict nearly 20 mafioso of such crimes as racketeering, extortion, and murder. Now Mr. 3 Dots has been marked for murder himself. My associate, Indy Badmore, found the family in abject poverty. They have no money, not even enough to buy the baby's formula. Mr. 3 Dots went to Catholic Charities for food and shelter. Here's the room where they now live. But most charities are also short of money. Catholic Charities cannot afford to maintain the 3 Dots family any longer.
We just tried to provide some type of service until we could fully understand really what was going on, so that we could sort of guide him or refer him to the places that he would need to go to either get the assistance that he need, or to get the problem squared away so that he can either carry on with his life or get back in the mainstream of society.
At one point, we didn't have any place to stay. We didn't have any money in our pockets. We were told, I was told, that if I wanted a place to stay, I should go to the shelter for battered wives and make up a lie about how my husband beat me. And when I asked where my husband would go, they told me that he could go to the YMCA. I explained to them that we wanted to stay together. And I was told, well, there's nothing we can do for you. Where are you going to go? What are you going to do? And at that point, I just about broke. I don't know what I would have done at that point if help hadn't come along. We probably would have hitched back to our danger area.
The danger area Mrs. 3 Dots is referring to is the outside world. It could be almost anywhere. Doesn't the government protect witnesses who testify against organized crime? Yes. In recognition of Mr. 3 Dots' valuable aid, the Justice Department put his family in the Witness Protection Program.
We were all settled. My husband had started a new life, a business. We had a house. Everything was going fine. Everything looked good for the future. And then one day, we got a telephone call. We were terminated from the program.
Bob Kelly is a retired federal marshal with more than 20 years' experience. The Marshal Service runs the Witness Protection Program. Kelly now heads his own firm, which provides executive protection to VIPs.
What do the marshals actually do for the witnesses that they're protecting?
Well, for the most part, they give them a new future, new identity, relocate them in another area, provide total security for the principal and his family.
What would happen if the Marshal Service were to withdraw this protection from an individual? Would it place this witness in any kind of danger?
I'd rather think it would. I'd rather think it would, because he would be on his own. It would be up to him and he might have enough background to where he would make proper judgment at different times, and maybe not. And it might make the difference between life or death.
You know, it's just a matter of time till I die. It's just the waiting that's the hard part. You know, sometimes a guy is going to get killed, he's going to get the electric chair, he's going to be hung or gassed. He knows his date. Me, I don't know it. I don't know what tomorrow brings. We've talked about giving up the children. You know, it's now that's even a thought that occurred to us, and that's for their sake more so.
The Justice Department arbitrarily dropped Mr. Three Dots from the Witness Protection Program. What was his offense? He was a pain in the neck. This was his reward for being a good citizen. It's understandable he became edgy. The Justice Department relocated the family in an area where he was unknown, but the government used a trucker who might know his identity. Mr. Three Dots became irritable. Then he wanted to set up his own business. He argued with the Justice Department over money. He wasn't paid to testify. This was resettlement money. Mr. Three Dots became cantankerous. In a fury, he contacted a local newspaper and blew his top. The article embarrassed the Justice Department, and government officials don't like to be embarrassed. They washed their hands of Mr. Three Dots. The government has pulled the plug on his life support system. Isn't that a high penalty for the government to impose because of a tantrum?
That withdrawal of them leaves me totally, I have no defense. What do I have to do? Carry a gun and separate from my wife so she might live, and get away from my children because you can't explain in words. Just think to yourself, if you were put on a gallows and you had a chance for a reprieve. See, everybody in the outside world can go to court and they can get a reprieve. What about me? I sit here and I know I'm dead at any time. I walk outside. I don't know if I made a mistake and they know where I'm at, or I don't know if even the people using the cameras, who they know, who you speak to, or who they speak to. I live in a world of total non-trust.
Hello?
Yeah?
Hi, how you doing?
How you doing, Maggie?
Okay.
This is the voice of Margaret Hutchinson, the Justice Department's top liaison with the Marshal Service. The people in the Justice Department, the Marshal Service, and the Witness Protection Program refused to be interviewed. So we recorded this conversation between Mr. Three Dots and Margaret Hutchinson.
So you say there's no place I can have a hearing that you know of?
Well, you've had it as far as I can tell.
Oh.
Here in this office. I mean, you talked to Jerry Sure person?
Yeah, but I didn't see him.
Well, that doesn't matter. I mean, you can tell him the same thing over the phone. You can tell him face to face.
Oh, no, you can't. No, you can't. Because people see a person's face. They know who's telling the truth, who isn't. When the Marshal Service told you that they were right, you believed them. I'm telling you I'm right. Nobody wants to believe me.
Senator Orrin Hatch is chairman of the Senate Labor and Human Resources Committee, which has been investigating organized crime. I took the Three Dots case to Hatch.
Where does somebody like Three Dots turn to for help?
He can probably come to us. He can probably come to the United States Senate, to the Judiciary Committee, which is now controlled by people who would be sympathetic.
What specifically can you do, or will you do?
Well, I think we can hold hearings. I think we can put pressure on the FBI. I think we can put pressure on the Justice Department. I think we can do a lot of things. We can certainly demand that we know, demand to know just why they took him off that program, and they better have a doggone good reason why they did it.
Senator Hatch is offering hope to Mr. Three Dots and his abandoned family. But the problem is, it may not come in time.
You can't imagine how close death is when you have cancer. Doctor says to you, you have cancer. You know you're going to die. Well, I got a cancer that's incurable, and I have no doctor. I have no fail-safe system. I can't take any narcotics for the pain. I mean, where do I go? Where do I turn? I don't think anybody out there can answer that.
This is a classic case of the arrogance of power. willful officials have washed their hands of a human life because their authority was challenged. The man in charge of the Justice Department is Attorney General William French Smith. Well, I'm putting him on notice now. If any member of the Three Dots family is murdered, he'll have blood on his hands.